Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey. Hello. Okay, so today we're talking about how to simplify your life and sensorily in a world of like sensory overload. Sensorily.
Sensory overload.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my goodness. And I want to start out by saying that this is just a discussion because none of us are experts at it yet. So we're still learning. And we're hoping to discuss this topic to just give you bits of information that may help you if you care to do this as well. So I'm hoping that you enjoyed this conversation today. Okay, who wants to start?
Juliann.
Well, I think I'll start with in simplifying my life. Again, like Stephanie just said, we by no means are have climbed that mountain and got that all figured out. But I have a lot of things in my current present moment 3D life that I need to address. And I will say that if nothing else, the last few years and how I kind of got pulled away from some of the things that were very necessary for me to really have some true peace and happiness inwardly in my life while I'm every day. I was pulled away from some of that by being a little bit distracted. Not that there wasn't some good things that I learned. They're all lessons. Every day is a lesson if you choose to see it that way. But I still am trying to simplify by downsizing, if you will. Okay, I've lived enough years that, and part of it is I live in a place where it's generational. So it's not like I didn't come from a military family that moved all the time. I stayed in one place my whole life, basically. And I had many of my family members pass away very close in timing, and they kept everything because many of them lived through the depression or whatnot. And, it was very valuable, the things they did have, and they were satisfied with that, and they might need it someday. So they kept it. Well, I basically got a lot of that. I mean, everything that they kept from their parents and then them and so forth. So I'm still digging out and learning how to simplify my life. It's to the point where I'll get really motivated and I'll go look at things to sort through. And many of you might realize this. You have a project, you have an end game. But to get to that end game, it takes like 20 steps to get to the end game. And by that time, you've already changed your mind. You've run out of gas. You've lost your enthusiasm for doing it. And if you decide on what you're keeping and what's going, it depends on the day. One day you're ready to I can part with that. It's fine. And then you see it in the pile for a garage sale or a donation. And you go, wait a second, I might need that. So it's very difficult. Okay. But for simplifying my life as I reflect too on some of that, when talking about happiness and memories and things that give me joy, it gave me joy. It gives me joy to think about those carefree moments. Now, we can't turn the clock back. I can't be a young child anymore. And nor do I want to, because I don't want to have to go through all the experiences again. But just that carefree time. And what was the most significant is we were left to our own imagination, to our own devices. We could, of course, living in a small town, basically, it was very safe. If any of you understand the term, I live in Mayberry, and I still kind of do. So the biggest thing for summer, children nowadays during summer break, there's no break. There's a break from the classroom, but there's no break. Their schedules, in fact, many times are even more packed than ever. And who does it affect as well? The parents and the families, the obligations you feel to go support them. And it's not that we don't want to not support them, but I mean, it just, where's the me time? Where's the time I need or individuals need for themselves to understand who the heck they are? So growing up, I mean, my biggest worry was what I was going to wear for the day, or maybe what I was going to have for breakfast. I left the house. I probably wasn't wearing shoes, certainly didn't have a helmet. And I took off, either on my bike or on foot, and created my own fun. I would hook up with a friend or two who was doing the same thing. I didn't come home till I was hungry, or I maybe heard my name called. And we got out in the dirt, and we got into some stuff, but it was never horrible stuff. It was just kid things. And that kind of dirt therapy and, in nature and creativity is something that is sorely lacking for many of particularly our youth, and then it carries on in their life. And it's unfortunate. So the technology age is what has, I'm trying to, certainly doing this, I have to learn some things, but I need to have a better balance and not be paying, attention to like the computer or my phone all the time. I definitely have turned off the TV, and I'm, for the most part, I don't, unless I have like instrumental or some kind of soft music in the background, like for the animals when I leave or whatever. That's about it. I don't watch programs. I don't listen to the news. I don't need to. I mean, things will come up in feeds and whatnot. The Cliff Notes. I'm happy with the Cliff Notes. And I don't want to hold on to every word that anybody is saying, whether it's somebody doing these kind of videos or whether it's the news. I've learned to tune into myself a whole lot more. And it has started to really cause me to, unwind and start to see what's important. So maybe just take a look at your life, especially if you're feeling stuck, and, figure out where you're spending all your energies and stuff. Or if there's something that you have always wanted to do, where can you fit that in? Well, there's probably places you can pare it down. And that's just for starters. I mean, it's the same thing that many of us are going through, because none of us, or in my era, my generation, we didn't grow up with all this technology. It's been one of those things you've had to, play in the game, or else you kind of get left out. And I still am busy enough with other things. I can't be completely disconnected for a lot of reasons, but I certainly can monitor it. So
Go ahead, Dana.
Yeah. Well, I was just, before we started recording, I told the ladies that for some reason, Thunder has always been much too enthusiastic when it comes to my approximation. And as a result, I've needed to relearn how to write after a very bad encounter with the lightning, and the last one, hopefully, but not the first one, unfortunately. And during the process and the physiotherapy, I underwent very, let's put it this way, very vast kind of a selection of neurological studies. And turned out I have a lot of sensory issues, which is kind of a typical when you're neurospicy to begin with. So that wasn't a surprise. What was a surprise was to the nurse who was testing, for example, my hearing. And she said that she was kind of, those old nurses who've seen and experienced everything, and, nothing phases them. And they can have a poker face if a pink elephant flies in with 7 heads and 6 tails. They're like, please have your seat over there, and we'll examine you in a moment when the doctor comes. She was one of those nurses, like nothing would faze her. She will face anything and do it like a pro. But she was stunned, and she said that she's been doing this job for now over 3 decades, and she's never met a human who has a hearing comparable to the hearing of a dog. And she was testing my hearing, like how much did the lightning affect my, different neurological conditions. And And I always told her, well, my ears were kind of very sensitive always, and I could, hear things that, people didn't believe I heard. Well, obviously. And so I've kind of lived with this sensory overload thing my entire life, and I've learned some tricks of the trade, how to basically it all comes down to calming your nervous system and calming your sensory overload, because our brain is a fascinating machine. And I actually have a little down the line a few good book recommendations to the subject. But I've managed to deal with a much more calm environment by implementing a few tricks. And one of the rules is a no phone to the bedroom rule. I do not bring my telephone to the bedroom. I don't need it there unless I'm talking on the telephone when I'm in the bed. Or why would I be talking on the telephone when I'm in the bed to begin with? Unless it's something, acute, like, something happened and I needed to talk with someone. Well, that's different then. I don't go to bed to, I'm not that great of a sleeper to begin with. So the idea of blue light before trying to go to sleep is almost like, why would you even do that to yourself? I bought this teeny tiny, ugly, cheapest alarm clock that I found that works on batteries, and these little batteries that you shove inside, and that wakes me up. I don't need a telephone for that. I charge my telephone over the night, every other night practically. It's on the very other side of the apartment from where I'm sleeping. I used to have activity bracelet for a while when they were very fashionable, and I was kind of thinking, maybe that would, inspire me to be more active, and I don't know, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and all kinds of fun stuff. Turns out I could feel the kind of a like vibration of the activity bracelet when it, before it started to buzz, like if I got a text message or before the telephone rang. I hated the feeling. It was like my fingers were tingling constantly. I needed to take it away. I don't do well with when it comes to, is it EMT or whatever, electric,
EMFs or
EMS, yeah. That isn't a good thing for me, I learned. So I never even tried again. And even, with the telephones, I can feel before someone calls me. I can feel before I get a text message. And especially when the telephones start to get a little bit older, because I use my telephones till the end, till they break up, or till something, uncouth happens to them, like, was the destiny of the last one. I'm not going to go there, what happened. But anyways, but I will use my phones for as long as they still work. I don't care about the latest phones. But the thing is, when they get older, I start to feel that it's almost like there's some kind of a barrier that, lowers, by the age. And then I start to feel when the text messages come. And, a lot of these electronic salespeople, they never believe me. But I'm like, test me. And I can tell them before they, the telephone rings, I can tell when it is about to start ringing. So I kind of, I've learned that I need to be mindful about these things in order to kind of get that calmness. And that is a kind of based on basically neurology. So no phone in the bedroom. And a while ago, I got this. This is the cheapest, tiniest MP3 player. I didn't even know how these little doohickeys work. Luckily, I have a son who does. And I learned that I now have a few folders in here for different kinds of music. Because sometimes I do like to listen to music or, meditation or something. But then all of a sudden, especially if you listen to them from YouTube, an annoying ad comes, like just pops up. Or like, you drive And then on a radio, I hate when people speak on the, I know that's the whole function of a radio. People speak in there. I don't like it.
I don't either.
I,
I
I,
don't
I
listen to radio
immediately
anymore
I
at
flip
all.
the channels. And the worst poison of all is when there's a kind of any kind of a newscast starts like hello, it's 11 o'clock and the news. But no, no, I don't need that negativity in my life. So I constantly need to flip the stations, and I find myself getting frustrated all of the time. Besides, I don't appreciate the music, what they put there, and I don't know what happened to the classic um, radio channel. Some kind of a manic depressive person all of a sudden started to, choose the music there. So I have here all kinds of stuff, and I can put, via this I can put the music to I can listen to that on the when I drive. And also I noticed today when I was walking in the mall, I was running errands today and I was walking in a city center. I had this and I use this. I don't do the Bluetooth teeny tiny eardrops that fry your brain. I can't do that, get a headache. I use these old-fashioned wiry ones. Another good thing is people see that you're having things in your ears. Like, I don't know how many people wanted to approach me today and wanted to know if I'm worried of the oceans of the world and pollution and whatever kinds of, do I want to order this and that magazine, especially during the summertime. They can be very aggressive. So I can just walk by. I can walk by because they see I can't hear them. And like today, I didn't even have any music on. I just had these on my ears and just walked happily away. So earbuds and no ads. Get old little doohickeys and people who know how to use them, because I really didn't.
Yeah. Well, they are better for you. You know what I mean? To not have that Bluetooth thing.
Absolutely.
Good,
There
but
actually are studies
yeah.
that it's been shown that they're not good for your brain, but for some funny reason nobody's talking about it. So another thing is when I go to these places with a fluorescent lighting, I have these very lightly colored spectacles that I wear just to ease up on the kind of a, because I see the flickering in the UV lighting.
Mhm.
So when I wear these, I don't wear these outside, but I wear these where there's fluorescent light. I think it's the worst thing created by humanity. Well, one of the first things, obviously not a worst thing, but these very kind of a lightly colored glasses, spectacles, they do create a bit of a barrier. And also it's psychological thing, but they do create a barrier between you and the other people. Sometimes that barrier is very, very, very welcomed. And another thing is how I simplify my life is I basically use one soap. I use one soap to wash dishes, largely, wash my face, wash my body. Sometimes if I've been busy, I haven't had the time to make my soap. I use that soap to wash my hair. I just buy a big, huge block of the soap and I just cut it to small pieces. I have it, scattered about the house. It's a one organic soap and it fixes everything and it has natural oils and doesn't dry skin. I'm at the moment using one lotion for everything. I use this for body, for face. I use this as a conditioner to my hair. It does everything.
Mhm.
I don't need that many. I'm getting that recipe done in a couple of days. Sorry, I have to say I've completely forgotten about it. What I do is I read and I write. That kind of a composes my thoughts. Tactic touch, I've noticed. That is some kind of it's almost like compressed therapy. Is when you have something tactic to touch, like almost like, children who need that kind of a pressure therapy, like they need the holding. I've noticed that I find myself being much more calm, especially if I need to be outside when there are, a lot of other people. Something squishy that I can touch. And also, you know, when you wear a shawl like this, it kind of, because it goes around you, it feels like a hug. Or if you're wearing a shawl, it does feel like a hug, and it's almost like you can envelop yourself. And I find myself, like today I got these samples from a fabric store, and I was walking and watching this, and I found myself fiddling these fabric scraps. These are just samples, but I was thinking about the consistency of the textile and the structure and everything. But this is something very tactile that is kind of diverting your mind to from everything that is happening everywhere. You don't need all that information. I've
Temple
noticed.
Grandin, I think she's autistic. She designed specialty gates for cows because of that whole compression thing.
Yeah, that's the holding therapy. Exactly. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and the weighted blankets have come out and been a big thing too. For calming.
Mm-hmm. They are excellent, and something, just anything, basically anything tight that you can wrap yourself around. Another thing is a warmth and comfortable clothes. I've come to a conclusion I'm too old and cranky to wear anything that is too structured. I like comfy clothes. And a lot of people don't know this, that if you have a possibility to have your clothes made to measure, they feel as comfortable as your pajamas, basically. So you can have fitted clothes, but they can't be snagging or tugging anywhere. I don't like that. I like the materials like this. This is pure linen. I like linen, I like wool, I like cotton, I like silk. I like, but there's the ethical problem in silk, but I do like how it feels on the body. I do like bamboo, but I understand manufacturing of bamboo is not very ethical either. Although it is, you know, derived from a wood source, but still. But, you know, I like materials that are feeling good on your skin. So clothes should almost like enhance your frequency rather than they shouldn't be wearing you, you should be wearing them. They should be extension of you and your energy, not something you need to think like, I need to suck my tummy in, or, you know, something like, how do I pose with this when I do this, you know, Instagram pose, like I'm like, what happened to people, really? Anyways, so we have no TV. Actually, I may be lying. I think my son has a teeny tiny TV in his room, but it's not even plugged into antennas or anything. He sometimes watches movies from that, but we don't have like a TV. I'd go nuts if I had something, you know, yakking, you know, constantly somewhere. I don't have a radio even, you know, that is on. So to me, it's kind of a like unplugging is the key word here. And I like a lot, you know, like last night I didn't sleep at all for various reasons. But rather than the electric lights or the general lighting that comes from some god awful, you know, ceiling lamp, I like these kind of a shady desk lamps, or then candlelight. Candlelight is something that is very soft and soothing.
Yeah.
And basically it's another thing is I've learned the hard way when we moved not to this place but the place not before that but before that, is I gave away nearly 3/4 of my library, and I was very proud of myself. Like I could get rid of my books. I didn't know I could. And it felt at the moment very freeing. And just about a week after, I felt miserable because some of these books have traveled with me through countries and several apartments and cities. And it's like they're like friends. I have memories in them. And funny thing is, afterwards, I've managed to find a lot of my original books that have somehow magically migrated hundreds of kilometers, across the country. And I found them on some scrawny secondhand bookshop. And I've even found some of my old, ex libris stamps in some of the books with my signature and my name. I was like, oh, that book was never meant to be gone forever. So I'd also, it's very fashionable, like Marie Kondo's, etc., like toss away. But I'd like to say, keep what you want.
Yeah.
I mean, don't just like Juliann said, don't let anyone dictate you what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
And I have a good few book recommendations. This is one of my favorite books, and it's written by Ryder Carroll, The Bullet Journal Method. As you can see, it's I don't know, it's very kind of a flashes.
Could you hold up the title again for people to see? The Bullet Journal Method.
Yeah, by
Ryder
Carroll. This isn't just about bullet journal method. This is excellent. This is about how you concentrate on things. And there's a lot of good, studies here that are being quoted. And I'd like to point out a few things from here. And studies have suggested that we have 50,000 to 70,000 thoughts per day. And this is from Cindy Dale, Energetic Boundaries, How to Stay Protected and Connected in Work, Love, and Life. There's all kinds of studies quoted here. And about multitasking, because, people are plagued by multitasking these days. I mean, think about workplaces. People are basically driven to their early graves just by the amount of work they have to do. But studies suggest that only around 2% of population is psychologically able to multitask. And this is from Maria Konikova, Multitask Masters. And this is from the New Yorker, May 7th, 2014. And this book is about, like it says here, that for everything we say yes to, we say no to something else. So choose what you pick to your life, because it's not in daily increase, it's a daily decrease. Hack away the unessential.
Yes, I like that.
It's just, I could quote for the rest of the day here. This book.
Dana, that seems like a good guide and a good way to start, because I did read, or it is, if you want to simplify your life, I think it really, you have to change your routines. You have to analyze and create new routines, maybe morning and evening rituals, or look at, like you said, what you aren't doing because you said yes to something.
Yeah, very good that I actually would have forgotten about was reflection. Because Ryder Carroll talks a whole lot about, daily reflection. What did you accomplish? What did you have to do? I don't like to do so much of the reflection. I don't like goals that much. I actually try to calm my life a little bit more. But there is a Ryder Carroll actually, and the bullet journal method has excellent, you can find all kinds of stuff with just, with the search words, Ryder Carroll from YouTube. They have extensive pages there. And now if you like neurology, I have a gem for you. And this is written by Dr. Daniel J. Levitin, The Organized Mind. And this has a whole lot of studies about, there's a decision fatigue, because, usually by the time we get anything done, our brains are maxed out and we are faced with decision fatigue. We've made so many decisions. That's why pre-planning is so important. Yeah, like even to, what do you wear tomorrow? How is your day going to, what are you going to do today? What are you going to do tomorrow? If you plan what you are going to accomplish today, it's more likely, according to studies, that you get it done if you decide today what you are going to do tomorrow, because you've already done a pre-decision. So that is one of the larger decisions that you don't have to make tomorrow. Therefore, you don't task your brain with it.
Right.
That's why I like to write everything down, because otherwise I'd be a mess. I'm a mess every now and then, you know, even with my notebooks. But without my notebooks, I'd be the definition of a mess.
Yeah, well, there's something about writing it down, from the brain to the hand and the paper. Yeah. But it gets bad when you almost have to make a list to look at the list you made. That's how it gets. And that's what we talk about at Crazy Life.
You have to have your notebook open on your desk, I've noticed. At least that works for me. Yeah. I have to have it at hand all the time, because otherwise I'm plagued with what did I have in mind, but now I've forgotten what I was supposed to remember. I mean, I have to have it at hand all the time. And the other thing is, brain is meant not as a storage. It's meant for thinking, resolving, not for storage. Because if you store all these thoughts and ideas in your brain, you are going to face with a decision fatigue. So you have to liberate some of the bandwidth. And I mean, my brain is almost like, you know, working overtime. And that's one of the main reasons I'm finding it hard to kind of wind down. So the elimination of blue lights and no phone in the bedroom, etc., you know, things would be very bad without it.
We've had a whole lifetime of this. So it does take a while.
Yeah, it does. And, you know, just this is a gem. I like these little tidbits of knowledge that, you know, you can pick from books like these. There is a part of the brain called area 47 in the lateral prefrontal cortex. Although no larger than your pinky finger, area 47 contains prediction circuits that it uses in conjunction with memory to form projections about future states of events. And when you read something, this area 47 is being activated. And that in and of itself will calm your mind. There's all kinds of fascinating research in this book. And this is The Organized Mind by Dr. Daniel Lewittin. And I'm just going to I have a love-hate relationship with this book because it makes me feel so unaccomplished every time I read it, but it's very good. It's very brutal to me. And this is the Unstuff Your Life by Andrew J. Mellon. Like so, and here is the author.
Click the clutter habit. Ugh.
Yeah, this has very detailed, almost like bullet points, how to unclutter your entire life. But the reason why I said I have love-hate relationship is because this man says you don't have to line your entire, you know, all of your walls with shelves.
Yeah.
I don't need that negativity in my life. But this is a very good thing. I mean, he's like, it's like I can get sentimental about my things.
Yeah.
I mean, this, and I'll show you, like, this is one of the examples. Like, on the other hand, I think minimalism is for rich people. I need my stuff. Let me keep my damn stuff. Like, even this, you would never believe what this is.
It's electrical.
Yeah.
How the heck did you know?
Yeah, on electric lines.
Yeah.
Because we still have those, or not so much anymore, but.
And it even says here is Hell 2, because Helsinki 2. When I was a child, my father, he was in the military, and they were doing some, you know, stuff with the electrical thingies. And it was just that here was a little bit of a nub here, and he would kind of sand it down. And now I have these funny little doohickeys just randomly in the apartment. Nobody, you are the only ones who figured out what that is.
Well, you know what? Why do you think that the farm chicks and all these junk and secondhand stores are so popular, right? And I have that. I mean, I have enough for my own store already. But I mean, there is something about going back to simple, because
Yeah.
we have tried to reinvent the wheel so much. And
Yeah.
again, it's kind of like happened gradually. Ironically, I've said this for a long time, because back in the generations when the ladies, cooked the meals, and okay, so we have so many convenience. Let's use the kitchen. There's a appliance for everything, from shredding to mixing to you name it, bread, baking, all of it. Where do you put all that? Okay, and if it's supposed to be so miraculous and make things so fast and easy, why do we not sit down for dinners? Why do we have less time? You see what I'm saying? It's ironic that the world seems to be in a rush. I just need to kind of pull back. And so all this stuff for convenience has definitely inconvenienced our lives. We need to look at it differently.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But yeah. So there's pearls like that, those, like what you just pointed out. People are going for those kind of things to simplify and remind them of those things.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with this. And the last book recommendation that I have, I actually, if you are working in education or in business, this is absolutely something I recommend to everyone. And this is written by Ken Robinson, and this is Out of Our Minds. And this is learning to be creative. But this too has basically studied research about neurology and neuropsychiatry. But this is basically the whole Ken Robinson and Out of Our Minds. This is basically everything we are talking about here today. I'm not even going to go there, but there are a lot of studies here, and this is actually taking a lot of like how even in education, how creativity could support children's brains, and how creativity could support humans' brains in the workplaces as well, and how it's almost like everything is being so amplified, like let's imagine all the information that is coming from everywhere, and all the kind of a sensory overload. Like people are so, even from the beginning of a day, I mean, I'm just looking at people on their phones and just scrolling through, and
Yep. Well,
even the schools are using laptops now, and books are being almost like they are going extinct from schools. At least that's the seems to be the evolution hereabouts. And now I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Dana. Everything the book, there's something about the smell of a book and the touch and the feel of a book. And that, I mean, in fact, I don't even think we had backpacks. We just carried our books. And then the backpack era came. We did it the old fashioned way. But there's something about a book. And when you add the electronics, whether it's the Kindle, what we already were talking about, how the EMFs and how, our light or the lights from those on our eyes is bad. So if you're reading a book, good intention, you're getting good information, but the source with which you're getting that information is, harmful. And even reading a book, you do want to rest your eyes. I really appreciate you letting us know about those books, and I would love to read them. Not a big reader, but ironically, I need to simplify my life and have time to read the books.
Right.
Just saying.
Well, if you'd like to read the bullet journal method, it's not just about basically a bullet journal is one book where you have everything.
That'd be a good one to start with.
This is my book, and I found this, and it has absolutely everything, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages. It doesn't have to be this big, but the whole book is about basically compartmentalizing your life, like taking a hold of it and choosing even like what gets to stay in your life, what is important.
Yep. I like that.
And when it comes to Well, I think this is a brutal, if you want to, a friend of mine, old friend of mine, she's not anymore a friend, anyways. She read this book and she made her own quotes and highlights and everything. I'm not even mad because it has the one, sentence, you don't have to fill your walls with all walls with shelves. So I was even like, do you want to keep the book? And she was like, no, 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 no. I don't want to keep it because I'm stuffing my life. She did the whole, it's almost like she saw the light and then she started the whole Marie Kondo thing. And
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, anyways, she went into the deep end, but this is a very good, very kind of a structured book to physically unstuffing your closet, unstuffing your kitchen cabinets, unstuffing your, it goes room by room.
So a person could take it bit by bit as they needed to. I was going to say, what they used to do though, too, Dana, if you think about it, many generational old homes in my area, back when they built homes, they had built-in storage. They had storage for things where it didn't have to be on your walls. So that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, we don't have that.
No.
We don't have that. Like, even, when we moved here, I was getting rid of so many because, this place is nearly twice as small from where, as from where we moved from. And our storage unit was at the attic of the apartment complex, and it was as large as a studio. I basically I gave furniture away, and I was trying even some of the large paintings that I had because they didn't have any space. I went I just took them to the skip to the point that when I went to the recycling center, they already knew me by my face. And they just asked at the beginning of a day in the morning, like, how many loads are you gonna, bring today? Do you want to pay them in a bulk? I was like, yeah, thanks. So you do have to kind of make it feasible. But there comes, like, I've kind of philosophized my life here in quite small surroundings. Like, I am willing to unstuff my life to a point, but not to that point where I'm going to start diminishing from myself. Like, I will make the space. I mean, I've built.
Well, you're going to prioritize what's good for you.
Yeah.
And all those self-help books, just like anything that we're saying, some resonates for people, some doesn't, and does not, and that's okay.
This one and parts of that one, yes.
So Stephanie, what do you want to interject? I know that you have.
Oh, yeah, I am not good at some of this stuff. I will fully admit it. I have tried to simplify my life, but in other ways. I like in food, I've tried to eliminate as many nasty ingredients as I can and try and, eat a more whole foods diet. I don't go out to eat all the time. I don't. So with food and that, I've simplified, and I too have my little music thing, and I used to be able to put it in my car. I was so sad when I got my new car, and for some reason it would not work in my new car. And I don't know.
It doesn't work there?
It doesn't work. I don't know why.
Brutal.
It is brutal. Because that's what, so now I have music on my phone, and
that's technology for you.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, all this new technology that's supposed to be improving things, a lot of times makes things more difficult or harder for people to get to know how to use it. And then they take away some of the prime, beautiful features of something, so.
Right. Give and take always.
Yeah. We've also simplified our life in that we don't have a lot of subscriptions to things anymore. We don't even have normal garbage pickup because of where we live, which is unfortunate because so when I go to try and clear stuff out, it's difficult because it's not always easy for me to figure out how to rid myself of some of these things. but in general, I recycle what I can recycle. We burn trash, not now, of course, because of the drought, but I recycle, we burn, and then I use compost where I can compost.
Yeah.
So we simplified in that way. And I read something about scheduling free time, and I do try and do that because I crave my alone, calm time. I need that, or I start going crazy. When I'm home alone, it's very peaceful, very quiet. Sometimes I have music on, sometimes I don't. And when my husband gets home, he likes to chatter, and it's like just incessant chatter, and he likes to make loud noise. So it's always like a challenge for me to try and get back to that center. And I just try and tune it out.
Yep.
But it's just, to me, it's so important to have that quiet, simple, no commitment time. I have to say I'm bad about television, just because he watches it a lot, but we don't watch like regular shows. We don't. If I watch a show, I watch like Touched by an Angel, or things like that are kind of more inspirational, or I'm trying to find out information from, if I'm doing research or something. Or we watch YouTube videos. Like my husband watches like car fix up things, and so we don't really watch much television, but he likes that, and he will hold on to that till his death. So I have like cut out a lot of people in my life, just because they're kind of toxic and bring me down, more or less. That's been a big help for me. And there are times where I do feel kind of guilty, because some of it's even family, but it's important to feel good about what you're doing. And if they're bringing you down all the time, then, and they don't seem to want to be together, then I'm just going to leave them be. I am like in the process of minimalizing some of my products because of Dana's influence and others, but I've always tried to maintain a more natural way of being with products. And I have tried a few new things, and I've been slowly getting ingredients to make my own products. So I'm excited for that. And what else? I clutter is a big thing here, because we do have some stuff from my mother, and I found it so challenging because she was still alive when we were downsizing her house. And she was not willing to let go of things at all. She wasn't at her house, she was at her assisted living, which made it a little bit easier, but we couldn't tell her things because she'd say, no, I want that. No, I want that. No, I want that. And why aren't you taking this? Why aren't you taking that? That's like old family, blah, blah. If it doesn't feel good to me, I'm not going to take it. Right. So I took a few key things, but I still have some of my own things, and we haven't moved in so long. We used to purge a lot of that stuff out. So we do have a lot of that. So I do need to work on that. And I'm trying to set small goals to match, to meet. So I'm not overwhelmed with that decision-making blockage that, I have that big time. Yeah. So like very small increments, I'll say, okay, that corner, because there is enough in that corner to go through. So I'll go through that. So it's a very ongoing process for me, but I am committed to doing it. And I really like your book suggestions, Dana. I'm not a huge reader either, but I think I need to start. We take one step at a time.
Can I implement something before I'm burning to say this? Something that you mentioned, Stephanie. It was actually, I don't remember what that was. It was some kind of a very huge, large project that I had. And I was feeling, I remember when I first read the book, I was feeling so overwhelmed, because it was like, I don't know where to start. And it was kind of it was the overwhelming that it was like, I was paralyzed. I was like, just have a cup of coffee. And then another one. and then just continue being almost like ostrich in a marsh. Like I don't know what to do. Also deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
But then I read the book, and there was this beautiful, I think this was, I know I've used the word magical. I'm not even kidding. I mean it. It was magical. There was some kind of 30-day project. Like you take a big thing and you take bite-sized kind of increments of it. Or even if it's a habit, like I want to walk 10,000 steps a day, or even if it's like I want to floss every day, anything for 30 days, you just do that one thing. Or you take one big project and you divide it up to weeks and days, etc. And then just do a little bit every day. Because if you do just a little bit, or learning a new language, learn 5 new sentences, 5 new words every day. But after 30 days, you've learned hundreds of words or sentences in a new language. Like it feels so large at first, but when you take it every day, just a little bit.
Mhm.
And you do it for, as long of a time that it's realistic for you. For other people, I've noticed that a lot of studies support that a lot of people can do something actively for 90 minutes. But for some other person, that could be 5 or 15 minutes before they get to that point of overwhelmment. So do it for 5 or 15 minutes, but do it every day for 30 days. Sorry, I hijacked you, Stephanie. I just wanted to say, there are kind of,
Ear
tips like
ringing here.
that. For, especially for me, because I get so easy, like I have 1,000 squirrels having a rave.
Me too.
In my brain on the best of days.
Me too.
So it's almost like I need to line up the squirrels and tell them to have several seats because we have things to do.
Like
Yeah.
that.
So they are kind of like these very practical tips that I've found have been very, very useful for me. Sorry, Stephanie, over to you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, it's true. And when you break things down into small increments, even, if you need to clean and you're not into it, just set a timer for 15 minutes, right?
Mhm.
And clean for 15 minutes and then stop and do something else, because that's my problem. I have short attention span too, really short attention span. So,
Ditto.
right. And
You can do anything for 15 minutes,
right.
basically.
And I do need to make more lists. I'm very bad about that. So relying on the squirrel monkey mind just doesn't always cut it. So I will completely like space out
Yeah. It does help.
what I need to do. The day's gone.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what was I supposed to do again today?
Yeah.
But yeah, I also found that like if you like write down 5 things that are very important to you in the order of importance, that you will try and make time for those things. So
My lists aren't in such a beautiful packaged situation like yours, Dana.
Oh,
But
if you
I will look
if
into
you would
it.
see the insides, they're everything
yeah.
but pretty.
so yeah, lots of good stuff to work on. And I put all my stuff in my bedroom too at night, my phone and stuff, recharging. So maybe that's something I need to work on as well. So I have a lot to work on.
Yeah, my husband does that, and I wish he wouldn't, because I quit putting some of that stuff. I don't have a TV in my bedroom. Never have liked that. Nothing, none of that stuff. So
We have a TV. We haven't used it in
Yeah.
years in
Yeah.
the bedroom.
when you talked about the first thing you said, subscriptions, you've definitely, subscriptions to things. Again, ironically, it's the very thing that they've done to us slowly over time. When you check in or buy a product or you start doing something, and they'll automatically now try, you subscribe to this, or this is what you're gonna sign up for, and it's free for 30 days. You can cancel. I learned a long time ago, first of all, I'm not going to remember that I did it. And second, I won't remember to cancel. And then you're going to get charged. All these little tricks that they
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
It's annoying. I saw it coming years ago. Like when you used to buy software for your computers, right?
Oh yeah.
You buy it one time And then you'd have that that thing. And then all of a sudden they went to subscription. So now you have to pay every year.
Yeah.
And
It's a gimmick. It's a gimmick.
it is.
And
Well, it's a money making for them.
yeah,
And
it's again, I think that we've come up with some really, the conversation, I think most anybody has got something that they resonate with multiple ways. And, reading some of those books and just stepping back and taking a look and deciding, like, if you get exasperated at the end of the day or the end of the week and you just, haven't gotten to things that you've been meaning to get to and things like that, just take a moment, carve out enough time one day and sit down and make a list of what you really would rather do or what you want to have room in your life for, and then where can that fit and what can you let go of, or what, and then figure out how it works for you, how you roll.
live deliberately.
Yeah.
And choose quality over
it.
quantity.
Because you're going to have you learn differently. You think, you do things, we all do things uniquely. So, just, there's a way we can change it. So
as long as you're willing to change, right? I mean, there are people who are not, like my mother, who is not willing to part with things. Well, she's never going to find
and you
balance.
accept that, and that's the elephant in the room, and that's what it is.
So first you have to have the willingness to change.
Right.
And make adjustments.
That's everyone. It's kind of like, again, it's the law of non-interference.
Yeah. It's kind of
we
like,
can't affect other people's decisions.
Right. No.
We can just support them in the way that they allow us to support them.
Yep.
But everyone will have to make their own life decisions in the end.
Yep. We can't change what we cannot change what we don't acknowledge. So
True.
Oh, kitty cat's getting some love, and that's great. So
yeah, she can't understand why she can't be fed every single hour. It's all very confusing. She knows there are good stuff in the cupboards.
Yeah.
So why isn't that on her plate?
Yeah. Well, if she was human, she'd be in the cupboards herself, it sounds like.
Yeah. She doesn't do cat very well. Like, she doesn't even know how to groom herself. That's been delegated to me. And,
she's simplifying.
She's simplifying.
I've been trained well.
Yes.
She's trained me very well.
Yeah. Okay, is there anything else, ladies?
I think I said a whole lot already.
Pardon?
Do your best. That's all you can do.
Do your best.
Yeah.
Yep. And we're just going to say, I mean, like, all of our group is still together. It's just sometimes, whoever can make these videos and make these little conversations do. I mean, we all have a life, and routines in that life, and so forth. So Scott and Rex are still with us, but they're busy. So I'm just going to say that. We should have said that in the beginning, but just know that there's going to be little combinations of things, or when people take little breaks or vacations, so
basically people are going to be doing whatever they can, whenever they can.
Right.
And sometimes, I mean, we are human form in this life. So we need some breaks every now and then as well.
Because we're all going to be working on simplifying.
Yeah.
And we wish you all the best with that. And there's always room for something different. And just changing the perspective and whatever. So we have the power to, it's how we react to our circumstances.
Yeah.
We have
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Have a lovely day.
Yeah. You too.
Bye.